Some of you may have been wondering. We had this series that technically started with building Mr. Beast's hometown in 24 hours. Then we built North Korea, Antarctica, Singapore, and the list goes on. Build it one to one. Then, randomly, after doing Germany over a year ago, the series just stopped, and I started making other videos. Why did I do that? We also made 1,000 buildings in Seattle 2 years ago now, and we were set to make a series finale where we did 10,000, an event that was scheduled for last year. What happened to that? And more importantly, why did I step down as leader of Build the Earth? These are difficult topics with lots of mixed feelings, and that's why I'm going to tell you the whole story of how it happened. November of 2019. I was a really isolated person with very particular and usually odd ways of doing things. I was debilitatingly superstitious. This entire YouTube thing opened a huge connection between me and some portion of humanity, and that connection to all of you has changed me more in the last 3 years than I had changed in the previous 10. I hadn't realized yet that being fluid in your character is what you're supposed to be doing, because reality is fluid, and in changing with it, your understanding becomes broader, but not too fluid that you betray the basic framework of your character, which doesn't mean you don't change any of your foundational beliefs, but rather that you don't betray them. A big one of those is my issue with groups versus individuals. The reason this channel became big in the first place was because my single-player world reflected my internal madness and strong spirit of individuality, doing insane things yourself, being self-reliant, and playing my favorite game, Survival Minecraft. But one video later and suddenly my channel became the opposite, about a project that's a gigantic group playing creative Minecraft. Ever since that happened, I've had very mixed feelings about the sudden turn my channel had taken. What I've learned through the years of doing this is that I don't love creative Minecraft like all of you do. And you, upon hearing this, might then say, well, Pippen, just do what you love then. I don't see things that way. Work is work. And if you're doing what you love for work, it becomes work. So it's fine with me either way. I'm excited to be alive. I'm so thankful for breathing, and it's difficult for me to find a subject that I'm not interested in. But the group thing created a huge issue for this channel and Build the Earth. The idea of a group is that there are tasks that cannot be accomplished by a single human being. There's an infinite number of tasks you could imagine that is beyond a single human being's ability. And there are billions of tasks accomplished by groups in human history that could not be accomplished by single human beings, most of them happening in the last 300 years. So there's a tremendous benefit to groups. Human society is one huge group. The synergistic efforts stimulated by economic systems making this glacier that moves and expands forward and accomplishes more and more to the point where the results are borderline miraculous, even to people in the age to witness them. This seems to work amazingly, with none of the disadvantages to groups that I'm about to get into even being visible when viewing this giant 8 billion human system from a distance to see how powerful it can grow in time. But what are the disadvantages to groups? How could they possibly even challenge these amazing, visible, positive results that we see around us? I'm gonna quote my second favorite comedian. I love people as you meet them one by one. People are wonderful as individuals. You can see the whole universe from their eyes if you look carefully. But as soon as they begin to group, as soon as they begin to clot, when there are 5 of them or 10 of them, or even groups as small as 2, they begin to change. They begin to sacrifice the beauty of the individual for the sake of the group, even groups as small as 2. I want you to think about that for a second. What's the most prominent group of 2 type pairing that comes to mind for us? A friend. I want you to imagine, and it might not be that hard for you to imagine, that you have a direction you want to go, you want to succeed, and you want to drive your thing to this specific place, and it's going to take a journey that's sufficiently hard enough that most people won't do it. If you're going to do that with someone, they need to be willing to take that journey with you. If they're not, then that hand you're using to hold theirs while you're trying to go down your path causes you to stop. All the ways in which they interact with you on a human level solidifies all the past behaviors you don't want to be, all the things in your past that you want to move beyond, but you can't because the relationships you maintain have a direct social effect on you. What do you do in that situation? And if it could potentially be that bad for a group as small as 2, what happens when you add more people? What if the people on your team don't have the same vision as you? What if they have a different dream? And all of this finger pointing I've been doing at others so far is under the assumption that I'm some sort of perfect, finished work under museum glass. But what if you're not? What if all of the insufficiencies of your internal character, which you are so desperately trying to overcome, manage, and negotiate with, just need the slightest prodding to fall back down into addictive tendencies, laziness, depression, darkness, or any of the myriad of self-destructive habits and behaviors that plagues us? This video could easily be written as a self-vindicating tale where the problem is everyone else and I am just so right and awesome. But the primary focus of this isn't about other people's flaws. This video is about mine. We started the Seattle 10,000 event on January 1st of 2022. After a lot of negotiating and convincing of team owners, we got all American teams, most large global teams, and a majority of builders in this event on the ground in Queen Anne, the target for this event whose goal was to be 10,000 buildings finished. And although the first day of this had the usual issues, hundreds of people trying to build, and even with 2 separate servers, everything constantly crashing and going down all the time, the outpour of progress was unbelievable. We had 1,622 buildings after the first day. If that could be maintained, we'd be done in a week. It seemed like nothing could stop us. But there was a huge flaw in all of this that would soon unravel everything. One building still equaled 1 point. Remember how that debate raged on in the first event? Well, people didn't think it was fair that people building a small detached parking garage or a shed got the same point as someone who did a supermarket. And since the winners of this event would win real-life prizes, sentiment against this system built up in private channels. I decided not to change the system since we were in the middle of the event, and it wouldn't be fair to everyone who had participated in the event so far under the current rules. This unwillingness to change the system did nothing to change the growing sentiment amongst groups of builders starting to speak against it. I tried to bring teams back and win them over again, but to no success. The completed buildings channel saw fewer and fewer entries. And even though I said I personally would complete 1,000 buildings of the total to try to inspire builders to keep going, me as I was and in what I was doing am insufficient to stop the inevitable. A familiar quiet settled around me. Everyone abandoned us. It was over. We lost. But I don't know how to quit. I don't know how to stop. Inside every single one of us is an individual, capable of infinite willpower. It's walled off by socialization, all of those times we were told no, every limiting belief the world gave us, every hacking and chipping away of our individual character to be a mold of society. A society that feeds your body poison and garbage, weakens your constitution, deteriorates your state of mind, and dulls your senses until we're all just dark blobs of amorphous sludge, plugged into their matrix, over-consuming everything, wallowing in the muck of mental entropy, sufficiently poisoned to the point where we cannot move or escape. But underneath all of that is a person with no limits, and can do anything they set their mind to. You need only one thing to find it. You have to want it. More than anything. In our daily lives, we experience certain amounts of pain. Some of us a little, others a lot. And it's easy to blame personal circumstances on others, or on nature, or to become so immersed into something that your own mind slowly lures yourself deeper in like a poison. But no matter how low we are in the depths of a painful life or an addicting distraction, deep in the molasses waters of that prison shines rays of light from the surface. A voice that speaks to us, telling us all the ways in which we could be doing things better. A voice that questions whether or not we should be doing this at all. A voice that tells us the truth. Truths like feeling imprisoned by life circumstances is actually being imprisoned by your own mind. We can be so deep in our own struggle, we can fail to see the forest through the trees, fail to see the things that we should be doing, to recognize the time we are wasting, and to accept personal responsibility for our own failings. Instead of wasting your time chasing dopamine, neglecting real life over a game, walking the path that others expect of you, or, most importantly, focusing on something so small that you've convinced yourself it's important, you could be climbing mountains. The voice speaks to us all of the ways in which we trap ourselves, and you could climb the mountain that, step by step, teaches you the necessary frames of mind and self-control that allow you to conquer the pitfalls of your personal human nature. People have different levels of resolution for reality that they naturally focus on. I, for example, tend to hyper-analyze micro details in small environments. This behavior acts itself out in the form of distractions, and when I first opened myself up to Discord in 2020, my uploading became much more rare. Instead of driving Build the Earth forward, I became an obsessed consumer of my own product. I'm not supposed to be doing that. I'm here to create and drive things. It'd be like when Bill Gates developed a new generation of computers with Microsoft, that instead of continuing to drive the company forward, he was just like, wow, look what I've created, and proceeded to spend most of his time playing that Dell pinball machine game for the next 3 years. That's an awful analogy, but hopefully you get my point. Hosting building events, managing server infrastructure, making Discords, leading a build team, and all the minutia that comes with it, it made me feel like I was doing things, but it really was an abdication of my responsibility. My responsibility is focusing on the success of this channel. Nothing else matters, save for opportunities I can conceive of above that. This can be perceived as selfish, but it's actually mutually beneficial. Self-success creates more ability to help others at greater scales. The greater this channel's success, the more awareness, members, and progress Build the Earth receives. And if I thought I was helping people by doing what I was doing before, hosting events and managing a repetitive YouTube series with diminishing returns only for it to crash and burn on its final episode, that obviously wasn't the most helpful thing I could do. I think one of the primary human impulses holding a lot of people back in their lives is fear. Not learning how to do the new thing that's holding you back on your next big thing is a nefarious combination of laziness and fear. But fear operates as a prime motive, mostly in ways that we don't understand or recognize. You see, this journey started with a video of me mining endstone. What astounded me at the time was the amount of comments of people who just couldn't believe it or calling it fake. In reality, it was 150 hours of me frying my balls with a laptop on my lap, playing Minecraft while watching movies and shows. Pure heaven. Nevertheless, people found it intriguing enough to start watching me. And then this happened. And instead of producing more videos about the idea of Build the Earth, I thought I would combine this new project I made with my grinding obsession and spend an irresponsible amount of time making a single video. The level of exposure the first Earth and Minecraft video gave the channel freaked me out. I wasn't ready for it. I had 100 subscribers 5 months before that. So I went back to what I know. Spend an insane amount of time grinding some huge epic thing. And here, I did it again. For this whole year, the conclusion is undeniable. I'm acting out of fear and reverting back to what is safe. I somewhat understood this when making these decisions, but considered the work produced either positive or neutral and a worthy investment. I was wrong. Achieving different levels of success required different sets of actions, beliefs, and character development. What gets you to one milestone isn't going to get you to the next. In business, the internal beliefs that would create $50,000 per year are substantially different than the internal beliefs that would create $20 million a year. If you want to punch through higher and higher milestones of success, you have to evolve. I understand this now. I treated my 20s like an extended adolescence. I wasted my time. I was self-serving. I ignored the concept of adulthood, responsibility, and a future. And I knew I was wasting my life. And just like sleeping on the desk through half of high school, I hated myself for it. I tried self-help thing after self-help thing, justifying my inaction by absorbing mountains of information on how to improve your life even though I wasn't acting on any of it. Knowing that this was also a justification of my prison of apathy deepened the self-disgust. But I kept absorbing it, thinking the next piece of knowledge or unearned wisdom around the corner would get me beyond that invisible wall of inaction. Well, I eventually found that magic thing that motivated me to start being responsible, and you're not gonna like the answer. It was the birth of my son. Not any piece of information or realization or profound thought spoken by anyone else. It was a life event, the paradigm shift where suddenly it's not just about me. I'm responsible for someone else. That puts a feeling in your gut. Is this an ad for procreation? No. Well, maybe. It's an explanation for what's going on now at a different level. I need to acknowledge that there's better ways that I can be doing everything. And it's been bouncing in my head for so long that I've realized a huge way to become accountable for making these changes is being completely transparent about it. Because I've been looking around in life, and I haven't seen almost any conscious change and adaptations people make to their own character. There's gradual or sudden changes brought about by external circumstances, but conscious improvements to people's character because they want to. People seem to attempt that for short periods of time and then soon revert back to baseline because it feels like fighting against physics. So making conscious changes to your identity might be the hardest thing you can do, but it's possible. And I will prove that it's possible by dedicating every ounce of what my word is worth to that promise. I swear to God. A month after the first Build the Earth video in 2020, I took a look at that Social Blade site and looked myself up. At the time, based on my growth in the last 5 months, it predicted I would reach 5 million subscribers in 2025. Well, we're halfway to that year, and for so many reasons, I haven't been living up to what I expect of myself. And like in my 20s when I was wasting my life, it makes me disappointed in myself. There's necessary ways of being that are required for you to be a socially functioning member of society. Let's set those aside for the moment as an exception to this and examine the idea of habilitating your weaknesses. In society, that's seen as growth. I see it as antiquated wisdom and possibly dangerous. You can take the things you suck at and rehabilitate those slowly to something resembling average, or you can use that vital time to double down on your strengths. The life that we dream of, a life free of worry, a life of freedom, being able to experience the world on your own terms and having the power and resources to help your family, friends, and beyond, free of ever having to worry about financial troubles ever again. We can get there by distinguishing yourself, by becoming so good at something that you're distinctly recognized. Not by starting 8 different side hustles, not by starting to build a bridge, getting bored, starting on the next bridge, and just repeating that process forever, but by building something bigger than you ever thought you could accomplish, by enduring, by cultivating discipline and taming your attention to divert it to the correct task, no matter how much the 5-year-old in us begs and pleads to divert our attention to something else, and by building that muscle of committing right action to become stronger day by day until the compounding personal growth and thing that you've built satisfies our inner yearning to believe in ourselves, to not spend every day in agony, dissatisfied with our life performance, but rather happy with what we've managed to cultivate in ourselves and what we've built for others to see. We built 4,021 buildings in this event, which combined with the previous 1,342 buildings in the previous makes for a total of 5,363 buildings in Seattle over the course of this mission. The winner in the team competition was Brazil, with 522 buildings, the prize being the first territory in a new series where we explore everything their team has ever built. I would highly recommend checking out that video. For the individual rankings, we had a pretty intense race between 3 different builders: Dark Zins, building with Oliver, and Luckwet, placing 2nd, 3rd, and 4th respectively. Dark Zins was the fastest builder I've ever seen, but the builder who really revolutionized the culture of not just this competition, but Build the Earth moving forward was Oliver. You see, the consequence of my crappy system of 1 building equals 1 point means that everyone was running around looking for the easiest buildings to do first. So every little garage and shed was being targeted and built, while the larger house on its same property was totally ignored, culminating in a pretty bad looking spotty map filled with finished sheds and parking garages. I rationalized this by saying everyone would keep going and eventually we'd build the big buildings. But Oliver started posting entire portions of city blocks that he built. And then he started posting entire city blocks. Oliver was creating a mass production methodology for making entire city blocks yourself, where instead of doing 1 building at a time, you take a whole city block, or even multiple, then do all of their outlines first, then all of their shells, then all of the wall details, then all of the street view. When you mass produce in these phases, you're able to speed up those phases by the repetition, picking up speed you wouldn't normally by having to change into 3 or 4 separate brain modes each time you go from start to finish on 1 house at a time. As the event was dying, this strategy was picking up popularity amongst the remaining members. I adapted it myself for the remaining 900 plus hours of the time lapse you just witnessed. The final Pipland that took over 700 hours had 36 city blocks that were mass produced with the Oliver method. This map has 3 major areas: the Piplands, which are in part taped together by Gooberdog city blocks, the completed mass in the spawn area of the south, and Oliverland. Oliverland and Pipland are only separated by a narrow band 2 city blocks in width of uncompleted progress, which Oliver is actually working on expanding to connect them as I'm writing this. We didn't manage to complete Queen Anne, but this is the largest amount of completed progress in a single area, aside from New York, that has ever been accomplished in Build the Earth, and I consider that to be a victory and absolute triumph. Bad things happened in the course of this event, and it's so easy for us to blame others. Blaming others in many circumstances is your mind's attempt to vindicate your own flawed behavior in order to not seriously reevaluate the way you're thinking and behaving and what you're doing. I don't want to be the guy nursing his own pride by trying to blame things on others, shouting that I'm the victim. Instead, I want to focus on every part of the story that was potentially my fault, where I went wrong, and how I can try to mend myself in order to better service others. My explanation for the 1 building equals 1 point system was that this would create a game effect where players would go for the easy points first, hunting out the easiest buildings in Queen Anne, and then, like volumetrics, as those run out, we begin to do the harder ones until we end up building everything. From a stamina standpoint, it was a horrible idea. Making things less rewarding as we move on isn't a great way to keep people engaged. The group that was still around in the 2nd month started to realize that it was absolute folly to think about things in terms of singular buildings. Whatever unit of value we measured, we should have awarded bonus cumulative points for finishing entire city blocks by yourself. Or maybe even made it a city block building competition instead of using individual buildings as the point signifier. If you look at the final score and all of these people who did just 1 building, imagine if the requirement to get a point in this competition was to build 1 city block, and instead of 1 building, all these people did a city block. Queen Anne would have been almost done, but hindsight is always 20/20. Still, I didn't want to change the rules midway because the idea of changing the aesthetic point system of a competition midway through something didn't make sense at all for me. You never change the rules of the game mid-game. You do that in between games. I was operating on the basis of selfishness, short-sightedness, and pride, and because of that, I lost everyone. I built these 1,000 buildings purely out of rage for everything I had lost, and everything I learned and seriously reevaluated from this experience was only half executed. I started working on YouTube again and Build the Earth content that people found interesting, but I held on to this project and kept working on it merely because I said I would build 1,000 buildings, and my own word is important to me. And I'm here to tell you that is stupid. I worked on this obsessively through most of 2022. My YouTube channel suffered. My income suffered. My mental health was destroyed. But I kept going because despite everything I've done and been through in my life, I still feel like I have something to prove, which might stem from deep insecurities or not valuing myself. If I realized all of these things over the course of the year, why did I keep going? If there's smarter and better things I can be doing, why did I stubbornly finish this? I believe in the power of ritual. And if we're gonna send off the old me that prioritizes things that feel special to make, I think it's worth it to ritualize his send-off by finishing the last one I was working on, even if it was preposterously sized. But now, that's done. And I'm able to release all of that with a huge sense of satisfaction being complete in the journey of building this. And now that I've let it all go, I'm thinking towards the future and the possibilities it holds for everyone. I'm not going to be rigid in my thinking, holding on to old ideas to the point where I cannot see past them to the next possibility. You don't need to hold on to what you did or thought in the past due to some sort of allegiance or loyalty. Good sequels to movies usually force someone's character to learn an entirely different lesson. If it was the same thing as the first one, it would be boring. The beliefs that you held and acted upon to get you to this point in your life will probably not be the same beliefs that are necessary to push you to the next point. It's a different path. Don't be afraid to adapt to it. You're not abandoning the old you, you're adding to him. Well, that definitely was an experience. Based on how much I learned from it through fire, I would consider it to be really valuable. If we had succeeded, I probably wouldn't have realized all of this and changed the trajectory. So I actually consider the failure more valuable than if we had succeeded. But it's safe to say we've fully explored exactly how far human will can take us against a completely impossible goal. If we cracked on attempting 10,000 buildings, we probably won't be able to finish the 4 billion on Earth required for this project to finish. I'll be the last person to say and admit that we definitely can't finish the Earth in Minecraft this way. And that's what the community has slowly realized over the years. The split in vision between them and me has become the attitude of, we basically can't finish, but hopefully we can build some cool things along the way. And for the first time in my life, I understand that. But that's what the group says. That's not what I'm saying. What do you think? Do you find that answer satisfactory? Here's what I would say. I would say in life, when someone tells you something is impossible, you should absolutely be skeptical because they don't know your mind. And most importantly, they don't know all of what's possible. Internet commerce is based on all the possibilities humans could possibly think up. And we've explored a tiny fraction of all the possible thoughts that could exist, let alone how they could be made possible in reality. Don't ever accept what someone says against your dream, and never give up hope, even if everyone you know has no hope left to give. The possibility, the answer, your solution, that magical thought that can change everything, it exists. It's out there. You just haven't thought of it yet. It may seem contradictory for me to explain that I'm done wasting my time grinding forever projects. How could that be when Build the Earth is the ultimate grind of all time? I never said I was done with them. I'm just done with making stupid decisions and working in stupid ways. Let's examine an obscure piece of trivia in order to understand. The most ridiculous part of Build the Earth isn't that we have to build 4 billion buildings. It's that one building of average size and complexity takes 20 to 60 minutes to finish. That's absurd. That's a crime. And that's what's really holding us back. But what if we could reduce that? How far could we reduce it? And what sorts of ideas could we conceive of to reduce that time? What might be the most important development in Build the Earth history, something that could maybe, just maybe, make it possible to finish, has been explored almost not at all. So we're going to in another video. At the end of each day, I feel a type of regret. I imagine the day I just lived, not just without procrastination, but doing everything I was afraid of, making advancements and finding decisions I can't even conceive of. Your highest daily potential fulfilled, and what that could look like when you string that sort of daily progress across years. I don't just want to be a preacher of that vision. I want to be a living example of at least trying to live up to that. I want to enact my vision on the world and leave a positive impact in people's lives, and not waste time continuing to do things that no longer serves anyone just because I'm afraid of hurting a few select people's feelings. And that's why I stepped down from being leader of Build the Earth. The first 5 or 6 months of 2020, half of my day or more was spent creating an infrastructure and a staff team for the project capable of managing itself. That's not what I'm supposed to be doing. I see all of this pain in the world, and I'm just happy to be alive. I focus on my breathing, and what a fantastic sensation it is. Elated that I even just get to exist, that I get to be here. There's too much amazingness in this world to be able to make videos about it all. And while we're here for Minecraft, there's something deeper that I've been trying to pull from when making my videos. That's what I want to offer people and offer the world. And it's what makes all of this worth it for me. That's the PippenFTS mission, and we're gonna lean into it even more. If you want to support the journey we're on, Build the Earth, PippenFTS, Forever World, or if you want to have this map that I and many others spent a non-renewable chunk of our soul to make possible, you can get it on Patreon. Tier 3 gets you all of the maps we've ever done. And while this video is the final chapter and the ending of Build It 1-to-1, it's not the last map, as I have a new system that has tons of interesting locations that a single builder or small group of builders could build to get featured in a video that's 100% focused on them and what they've created. Half of my Patreon revenue gets donated to Build the Earth, and the best thing that builds that revenue is adding awesome maps to our Master World compilation. So if you're a builder in Build the Earth or Earth the Build and want the project to get more money to develop cool things faster and want to grow the entire enterprise, please consider applying for one of these locations, now available in the Pippen Discord. A link is in the description. A huge thanks to every builder who put any amount of time or progress into Queen Anne. A big apology to all the teams that I made beef with. Getting petty and small-minded is one of my weaknesses, and I'm sorry that that manifested into my work. And a huge thanks to our Tier 5 patrons, Dylan Newton, Caden RBLX, Thibalt Tollett, and DIY Woe Infinity. No joke today. You keep this whole thing alive, and I genuinely appreciate you.
Bikes and horses are allowed on roads. Well, that's good. We can take the virgin new path or the scary old trail. I know what we've got to do. I have no idea where I am. I'm scared. Okay, I think this is the normal trail. We keep going this way for the old trail. Let's check it out. I am here. Okay, it really did want me to go up that thing. Under construction and closed. Not the way we want to go. I'm glad we double checked, because if we didn't, I would have been walking up that way and been like, is this the way? Is this the right way? I'm hoping that I don't have to, well, I probably will have to pee sometime on the trail. How does that go though? You know, you stop, you pee. What if someone walks up? What do you do? Do you put it away as fast as possible? Or do you just totally ignore them and continue on with your business? Or do you say hi while you're doing it? I don't know. Oh, stickers, cool. We are officially on the trail. Not on the old trail though. I'm already exhausted. I'm gonna call it quits, guys. I wasn't made for this. I'm just this fleshy pink weirdo. This is the new trail? This is the new trail. Yeah. Sounds for we're not taking this trail. Maybe I should have worked out for the last couple weeks to build up to this, because I'm whining and shit, but we're like on a main road right now. We're not even hiking yet. By the way, this isn't a GoPro. I kind of wish it was. I'm kind of a dumbass for not doing that. Oh, look, the Old Man Black's Peak Trail is a very steep, wet, unmaintained, difficult, and challenging trail. Search and rescue teams are frequently called to this trail to assist distressed hikers. That is a liberal media lie. Average round trip time to complete this hike, 8 hours. What? I heard it was 6. We'll complete it in 6. Bring food, water, clothing layers, and appropriate footwear. We know what we must do.
Find the mountain, climb the thing.
They say it's hard to tell what's the trail at some points with this old trail. So far it seems pretty clear to me. Okay, I'm gonna just focus on my rhythm for a little bit. I'll check in with you guys later.
Find the mountain, climb the thing.
Look how beautiful that is. It's so beautiful. It's like sunlight coming through the trees. You know, that's exactly what it is. Look at this beautiful, gurgling, babbling creek of fresh, clear mountain water. That's drinkable, right? I don't know, maybe it's full of shit. Oh God, how will I ever climb up this? Wow, guys, the old trail is really intense. Ooh, we're like going diagonal now. Ooh, I can feel this in my anal glands. I'll get back to you guys.
Climb the thing.
This old trail is f***ing nuts. What have I got myself into? This might not look bad from your view, but I'm literally going diagonally. Oh my God, I'm about to be a statistic. Send help. You know, it's more insane to consider. For every root step that I take, you gotta imagine that 20, 30, 50, 70 years ago, this is the old trail after all, people dug out. They carved this trail out. Every step they stopped and were like, let's make this into a nice stair. It's insane. Look at that. Someone dug that out. Hundreds of them. 1,000 of them.
Find the mountain, climb the thing.
Okay, and I had to take a break. This thing is insane. Very interesting how the thing that we need to climb up this is oxygen. And the higher you get up in the atmosphere, the less of it is. So you need more oxygen to climb up these steep hills, and you get less of it the higher you go. It's almost as if God created natural game borders to our reality. He deliberately wanted us like, you cannot climb up this. Don't go this way. It's like a Mario Kart. You can't drive up the hills. Makes you wonder what's at the top of that mountain. And in biblical stories, there's always something special at the top of the mountain. But mama didn't raise no bitch. I'm gonna keep going. It's kind of amazing how your breathing, heartbeat, and the pain of your muscles have this strange effect of just melding with the course of the trail. It's like you and the matter that makes up this mountain become one and the same. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. Maybe my brain's oxygen deprived, but I can't hold this camera for more than 5 seconds. I gotta go.
Climb the thing. Find the mountain.
I walked by a gnarly beetle. That guy's gonna live his entire life on this mountain. He'll never know anything else. And it made me sad, but I shouldn't be. Because an alien would look at us and be like, that's the only planet they'll ever know. So sad. Most humans throughout history didn't even know what space was, and they probably lived happier lives than we did. This is a lot harder than Bill Wirtz said it would be.
Find the mountain, climb the thing.
This is legit f***ing insane. People do this for fun? What is wrong with people? It said only 1.5 miles. That doesn't sound like a very long walk. But this, okay, I'll admit it. The old trail is hard, but we're harder. I can do this.
A few moments later.
I gotta lay down. This is a nice view. Really pretty. I don't know if you can see what I can see. It's really different if you're there. Not just the 4 other senses, but it's the way our eyes are too. They're like surround screen. One day we'll be able to put a giant contact lens in our eyes, and it's a live feed of exactly what someone else sees. It'll be like literally their vision. You'll be able to import their vision into yours. That'd be f***ing sick. I think I'm gonna die right here. It was a good run.
Later, moments, few, if.
I see a bright light. That's the brightest light I've seen. And there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Or atmosphere, whatever. I can't even feel my legs anymore. Do legs even exist? I'm like an ethereal ghost floating up. I'd say I'm practically lost at this point. It's hard to tell what's the trail and what's not. There's an occasional little thing on a tree, little diamond. Lets you know you're going the right direction, but I haven't seen one in like 20 seconds. It's amazing up here. I can't even see how high I am. You know, this is a really eye-opening experience. Getting up a mountain is this hard, but humans have been able to break through the atmosphere and drift out into space and objects and people. What's amazing about that is, you know, we have to burn a gigantic amount of matter to do that. We have to burn a gigantic amount of matter from Earth as fuel to send us and the ship out into space. You'd think there'd be some kind of basically litmus test of how much our own human physical strength, you know, how far we could launch that into the atmosphere. Right? Like, why can't we levitate like 20 feet and then it's like, oh, I'm too tired, and then fall down? We actually can do that. It's called jumping. We can launch ourselves a few feet upwards into the atmosphere. And that is exactly how far our muscles can take us into space, which gives you an idea of just how much energy it takes to break free of the gravity of Earth. But we've almost made it here.
Find the mountain, climb the thing.
Okay, really quickly, I want you guys to listen. Do you hear that? What is that? Is that like the dull roar of human society? Is it planes? If it was planes, it would die out and then another one would come. It's just a constant dull roar from the valley below. Okay, so I just passed the new trail, but looks like there's a shortcut this way. And we've been walking like this the whole time, man. We're not gonna give up now. We're gonna go the direct route. You know, Mama and Daddy didn't raise a bitch, and I'm not gonna be a bitch. I'm at the end, I can feel it. It feels like we're out of bounds in a video game because you can't see anything up here. Oh my God. This is it, I can feel it. Hold me. Oh my God. What the f is this? Oh my God. Holy shit. In the event of a rock slide, I am dead. Keep me in your prayers. You can kind of see that there's some stone steps here. It's the fucking staircase to heaven. My legs feel like plastic appendages at this point, but it's just amazing that I'm here. Here we go. I don't like heights. This is scary. You too. Am I almost there?
It depends what you mean by almost, but yeah.
I'll take it. Barely existing.
Oh, you're telling me, bro. You're almost to the top. This trip's gonna kill me going down. My left knee doesn't want to bend.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna like spend an hour up there to recover.
Yeah, I tried, but I was like, fuck it. It's gonna take me too long to get down.
Yeah.
Might as well start going and rest on my way.
Good luck. I'm almost there. I'm almost there. I see it. I see it. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh. Oh my God. It isn't enough to have just a few righteous people talking about preserving trails. We need a lot of them. This trail was built with nearly 10,000 hours of volunteer labor. I believe it. From the mountains to Sound Greenway Trust, Washington Trails, blah, blah, blah. We are grateful for their work. Me too. I made it. It's the mailbox. It's the mailbox. It has so many stickers on it. Let's add our own. I feel like we should add our own sticker. How about this? Okay, here we go. I think I'll put it right there. There it is. Build the earth on the top of a mountain. I did it, AA. Look at that view, so beautiful. Oh no, we can't see it because there's a lot of fire smoke. It's like I'm in Lord of the Rings or something. Is there anything inside the mailbox? Oh my God, you can put stuff in there. Well, I don't have any stuff, I just had a sticker. My legs feel like plastic. I feel like I'm dying. I'm gonna recover now. Okay guys, so I've spent some time recovering out here. I practically took a nap. It's so nice up here. Maybe not a good idea since the UV rays are gonna be so intense up here because it's less atmosphere. So it's hard to see how glorious it is up here. I wish you could see what I see. I don't do well with heights, but this mountain hasn't been too bad. So apparently you haven't actually done the climb if you don't touch the plaque. There you go. It's so nice. And we'll touch this one too for good measure. Yeah, you like that? There we go. Right next to I Love Penis. How you feeling?
Good.
It destroyed me. All right, guys. I think it's time to go home.
If the mountain, I'm in the...
Pretty nice hike, huh?
Yeah, it's really nice going down.
I bet.
Yeah. It just takes mental energy to make sure you don't turn your ankle.
Yeah, the rock fields are pretty rough.
Yeah.
Feel that in my bones.
Well, good luck.
If the mountain, I'm in the...
We're almost there, right?
Just about, yeah. But it's soul deadening.
Yeah.
But don't worry, you'll be at the top soon.
Okay, thank you.
If the mountain, I'm in the...
So dogs can do this too, huh?
Apparently they are doing it, yeah.
Yeah, they're hanging in there.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I was a little worried about her on some of the rocks, but she's been fine. Seems like they're doing great. And we
That's
saw other
great,
dogs
yeah, they
here
look like
too.
they're thriving, so.
Have fun.
Yeah. Can't say the same for myself.
I know, exactly.
I am destroyed. I took like a nap up there.
Which trail did you take?
Oh, the old trail.
Okay, we took the new one.
Yeah. It turns.
It's way easier.
Yeah, well, when you get here, it like turns into the old trail
Yep.
intensity.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
How was
sucks.
it? I mean, how's the condition of it?
Oh, it's great.
really?
It's you have to pay attention, but for the most part, it's really just anyone can figure it out. It's not as bad as people say.
They make it sound like it's like,
You're gonna die.
Yeah,
yeah, like it's all washed, you know, like.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, we're done. Holy shit, we're done. I've never been more happy to see road. Only one last thing to do. There you go. Both mailboxes. Mission accomplished. You can accomplish anything you set your mind to. Anything.
Even if we hate to say it, I will. I can't build 1,000 buildings in Seattle, 1-to-1 scale in Minecraft.
So that was a f***ing lie.